after the leaked video of the DOJ official admitting the cover up. Folks, you joined me while I was talking and typing with Lev Parnas of Lev Remembers. Lev, as you all know, was a fixer with the Trump administration. He was a true believer, died in the wool. He knows all the world's worst players, and all of that will come into all of that, if you will, is important to today's conversation because I got a text from Lev last at 10:30, and I'm like, "Is everything okay?" He goes, "Hey man, did you see my piece I just dropped?" I'm like, "What?" No. He goes, "We gotta talk about this." And the piece that Lev dropped last night was a piece talking about this Project Veritas video that exposed a Trump DOJ official. And folks, I have to call it a Trump DOJ official because the DOJ now is completely compromised, who straight up on camera, he didn't know he was being recorded, admits that the Trump administration, what Lev and I have been saying for a month now, is engaged in a cover up, and that what they're planning to do is release the files, which they have, by the way, only, as we've been saying, highlighting the Democratic and liberal names and scrubbing the Republican names. Now, I just informed Lev literally like a minute before we were talking about it because Lev was like, "Man, this is a big story, and mainstream media isn't covering it. I feel like they have to be covering it." Yesterday, that same DOJ official, folks, in like what is the sloppiest, most reckless type of correction, the DOJ Twitter handle posts a like screenshot of a talking points written on I'm not making this on like a notepad on an iPhone. I'm like, what is this actually so the DOJ's main account posted a photo, a screenshot of something written on an iPhone, and then today, Lev, if I may, then we're gonna give it to you.
Please, no, no, continue.
This is Donald Trump. This is Donald Trump from an hour ago. All right. This is how you know this is a big deal. And this is how you know MAGA realizes it's a big deal, and corporate media and the Dems are always two steps behind, which is why Lev, I think, is very important. He was on it. This is Donald Trump for an hour ago. Okay. I do it in his voice because I can't say it like a normal person because I think we have to realize how batshit he is. The confused and badly failing Democratic Party did nothing about Jeffrey Epstein while he was alive except befriend him, socialize with him, travel to his island, and take his money. It's all projection. They knew everything there was to know about Epstein, but now, years after his death, they, out of nowhere, are seeming to show so much love and heartfelt concern for his victims. There are victims. There were girls who were raped. Does anybody really believe that? Where were they during his very public trials and for all those years before his death? The answer is, quote, nowhere to be found, he quotes himself. The now dying, parentheses, after the DOJ gave thousands of pages of documents in full compliance with a very comprehensive and exacting subpoena from Congress, Epstein case was only brought back to life by the radical left Democrats because they're doing so poorly with the lowest poll numbers in the history of the party, while the Republicans are doing so well among the highest approval numbers the party has ever had. Actually, it was the Wall Street Journal, Rupert Murdoch, who brought it back. And also, he just had his worst economic numbers, which is reflecting a recession that's down the pipeline. Another thing we've been talking about. The Dems don't care about the victims, as proven by the fact that they never did before. Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie on September 3rd just had all the victims come out in U.S. Capitol, and Donald Trump said nothing about the victims except that it was a hoax. This is merely another, wait for it, Democratic hoax, just like Russia, and all the others in order to deflect and distract from the great success of a Republican president and the record-setting failure of the previous administration and the Democratic Party. The Department of Justice has done its job. They have given everything requested of them. They have not. A federal judge said that they could release all the files if they wished, and Thomas Massie said what was given a couple of days ago by Comer was pretty much the same shit that's been given. It ends, Lev, with this. It's time to end the Democratic Epstein hoax and give the Republicans credit for the great, even legendary job that they're doing. He said this an hour ago when the job reports just came out, some of the worst job numbers in years. Unemployment has risen. It's gone back to pandemic levels. And then he ends it with Make America Great Again. He is shook. He is shook, Lev. I give it to you.
No, he shook, and his world's crumbling from a lot of different angles. I mean, let's start off with, first of all, the past several days. I don't know if you've been watching what, I mean, he is, my sources are telling me what happened overseas in China really shook him, really shook him to the core because he, in his crazy mind, really believed these were his friends, were associates, and they basically gave the middle finger. I mean,
Are you
and if you
talking
think,
about Xi, Putin, and Modi?
yeah, Chief Putin, Kim Jong Un, and even today he put up, and I put it in my Substack. He put a post out saying literally, "Well, India and Russia has gone over to China. I wish them a well and prosperous relationship." He's off the rockers. I mean, he's it's really, really, really getting to him because that's a separate subject we'll go on to. But let's talk about this because there's a lot to unwind here. This is a very, very huge story that I can't understand why the media is really not reporting on. So the first thing about it is you have an actual DOJ official sitting there confirming everything we've been talking about here on the left hook and what I've been reporting on Love Remembers, basically that there are files that there is a cover up, that they are redacting Republican names and they're putting on Democrat names, that they're trying to rewrite it. I mean, everything. But there's another thing he said in there that was really like it was a little snippet in this whole 8 minute what's it called? But he said something very important that confirmed also what we've been talking about, and I think is important today, which we're going to talk about some more. Is he was at when the lady asked him about, is the FBI wants the files out? He responded to her. If you go back and you listen to the snippet, for those of you that haven't seen it, you could go and get it. It's on my Substack and make sure it's an 8 minute recording from Project Veritas, O'Keefe, James O'Keefe. And I apologize for doing anything with James O'Keefe because that's a story we're going to get into. I know him very well, but in the context of what's happening here and the fact that he's the one that is making this report, it's important to take a look and we'll talk about it. So she asked him, and he responds to her. He says the FBI doesn't want it out. Only the two head guys want it out, and he goes that Patel is responding, trying to deal with Bondi. He goes, but he goes, the second in command is causing a lot of trouble. Who's that second in command, Wash?
Mangino?
Dan Bongino, that's right, folks. So everything we've been talking about, we've been telling you, now it has been confirmed by a DOJ official saying that the second in command, Dan Bongino, is the only one that's not on board. And that's why it's so important that the media gets on track here. They should be right now crowding Dan Bongino everywhere he goes and asking him the question. They should be probably give us a statement on the Epstein files. They don't have to go any great. Just give us any statement. You haven't spoken about it since the day you said you're leaving and then you came back. What is going on? What do you think about Trump saying that he is again saying it's a hoax when you have the actual witness? I mean, these are simple questions that
This
I'm
was
not.
2 days ago when we were talking about it 2 days ago. What we said was you, me, and Dean said that the simple question that any reporter should ask any Republican: do you agree with Donald Trump
Yeah.
that the Epstein files is a hoax? Do you agree with Donald Trump that these girls are lying? Does that do you think the women are lying? No one's asked this question, Lev.
No, I mean, and that's the crazy part. That's what I'm saying to you. Like, and not even the fact that they're not asking it, they're not talking about it like on the mainstream media, the 9 o'clock shows, the 8 o'clock shows. Yes, they're talking about. They're basically giving you their versions of what's going on during the day. It's like of watching pundits give you their opinions all day long about what's going on. But the real news, what's really breaking, and the things that they should be pushing on, like they should be. This should be a big story. Like, where's Dan Bongino? What? Why haven't we heard one statement from him? How come nobody is even curious? Not one reporter is even writing
No, no,
about
no.
it.
We've been on it for a month. We
No,
have been
yeah,
on it for a month.
yes. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the journalists out there. It's just so insane to think, and then to watch again. Also, the abuse that the journalisms are allowing Trump to get away with by attacking the victims. Just think about that right now. That post you just the truths or whatever
Yes,
that
we
is,
posted.
whatever that he just posted out there. I mean, he's again calling the victims liars. He just said, "Where were they? Where were these brave souls, these survivors that stood on Capitol Hill yesterday, begging him to come talk to them, saying, 'Mr. President.' One of them is saying, 'I'm a registered Republican.'"
Yep.
Come talk to us. This is not a hoax. We are real. We are living human beings standing here literally across the street from you. You have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene that I can't even imagine that I'm saying these words. James O'Keefe, Marjorie Taylor,
Yep.
standing there begging Trump, bring him into the White House, listen to their stories. Instead, he
I,
continues to call it a hoax.
I just posted this again. I'm begging. I said I'm begging every reporter. One question every reporter needs to ask every Republican on camera: do you agree with Donald Trump that the Epstein files are a hoax? That's it. I'm begging you. Just
Yeah.
one
And
simple question.
tag Dan Bongino and say, where is Dan Bongino? That,
Yeah.
that we should do a campaign. I mean, I don't know, folks. If each and every one of you out there, we're going to have thousands of people watching this, and once we resend it, there's going to be thousands of thousands more, hundreds of thousands. Each and every one of you, when you listen to this, I'm begging you. Literally, go out there and make your phone calls. Put pressure on the press, on your congressman. Say, can someone ask Dan Bongino a question? He's the second in command. Now, if you don't want to listen to me, you don't want to listen to Waj, you don't want to listen to my sources. Now you have it here in black and white. I mean, not even black and white. It's a video of the guy saying it. The guy he's the acting deputy chief at the DOJ saying it, that the second in command is causing trouble. He's not on board. Oh,
And for those who don't know, and let me also, just for journalistic fairness, give you his response. We're talking about Joseph Schnitt. Joseph Schnitt is who Lev described as the acting deputy chief of a Justice Department. He was hidden on camera. He didn't know he was being recorded. This was set up by Project Veritas. We'll talk about Project Veritas, which I think is very important. That was Project Veritas that got him. Schmidt said he had no idea he was being recorded on video and that he had met the O'Keefe reporter who he said was pretending to be an au pair on the dating app Hinge. So basically, he met this girl on Hinge. He went. I can't make this shit up. He met this girl on Hinge, but she wasn't, and she was like, oh, a Project Veritas reporter had the camera, and they were on a date. And he says, quote, the comments I made were my own personal comments on what I've learned in the media and not from anything I've done at or learned via work. This again is the acting deputy chief of a Justice Department unit.
you
He
know
did.
what?
He said in a letter, quote, the letter that the Department of Justice took a snapshot of his phone, a notepad on his phone, and then tweeted out last night. Not making this up. He said in his letter, quote, he has no knowledge of the circumstances surrounding Miss Maxwell other than what is reported in the news. Lev.
So there's so much wrong with that. I don't even know where to where to begin. Like just the fact that he thinks it's a normal excuse to say that, oh, I didn't know it was a reporter. That's why I said it. It was a girl that I just met on a date that I had no idea. She could have been a terrorist.
Which is
She
even
could have
worse.
even that's what I'm saying to you. Even worse, and he thinks that, and this is their way of just exposing it. But there's a simple question there. This is the beauty of it. Okay, Mister Schnitt, you said you gave your personal opinion about, and I'm not a journalist. Watch, I'm trying to use common sense. You say that you use your personal opinion what the media reported on. Show me the media reports that said that the second in command is causing trouble. Because I haven't seen any media reports about that. Let's not talk about Maxwell. See, we got him. This is where it's important. This is what I'm trying to say to you. I know how they think. See, he made a mistake right there. You know what I'm saying to you? They're trying to deflect now, talk about, yeah, he read about the Maxwell. He read about the Trump scrubbing, the DOJ. He's just, and people are like, he could have read it somewhere. But where did he read about that Bongino, that the second in command, and then this is very important because in the whole reporting, Project Veritas, they talk about everything except Dan Bongino. He's
Yep.
not mentioned. They're not even asking. It's like slipping through the what's and I'm trying to sound the alarm, Waj. I'm
Yeah.
trying to say, guys, just somebody ask a simple question. Even this guy Schnitt, somebody come up to him and say, okay, what on what grounds? What opinion did you have? From what sort? What makes you believe? Because he's not saying that he's not on board or he's this. He's saying that the second in command is causing trouble. I mean, those are specific words I'm saying to you. Like, where did you get that opinion from? That Dan
I,
Bongino is causing trouble.
And also, and I think let's just break it down, folks, because it's so batshit, and things are so batshit that we have normalized things that otherwise should not be normalized. I try my best not to. Lev doesn't, such as, oh, the National Guard being unleashed against the American public, such as Donald Trump earlier today, putting his face on Mount Rushmore in a video. But really, just sit with this for a second. An acting a member of the Justice Department, a person who literally is working right now in the as acting deputy chief of a Justice Department unit, went on a date, goes on a hinge date with this woman that he doesn't know. He's on a hinge date. You could see it on video, casually just mentioning all of this to a random lady. She could be a Russian spy. She could be a Chinese spy. She could sell this information. She could be an undercover reporter. In fact, she was, I use the word reporter in quotes, for James O'Keefe's Project Veritas, which we'll talk about and why that's important. He casually, during the day, while sipping, I don't know, on Long Island iced tea, just drops all this information, right? Uh, as he's dropping this information, he confirms what has been reported, that the FBI, a unit in the FBI, was tasked to find Trump's name and redact, redact, redact. Allison Gill of Mother She Report was the first one to talk about it. CBS then confirmed it. Okay. He also then talks about the Epstein files and how they're gonna promote the liberal names, something that Lev and I have been talking about, right? But then, as Lev said, and what we've been talking about for those who haven't seen our previous conversation on this issue, is the FBI director is Kash Patel, no experience, a person who helped promote the QAnon conspiracy, a person who promoted the rehabilitation of the January 6th violent conspiracy. His deputy director is Dan Bongino. The reason why Lev and I have been talking about Dan Bongino is lot is Dan Bongino has gone quiet in the past month. Quiet. Ever since the base has turned on Bondi, Bongino, and Patel, because Bongino's bread and butter was as this cultural warrior. He was the true, authentic warrior who will come in, from the trenches, and as the deputy director, do what, Lev? Clear the deep state. His job was to finally prove to his base that he radicalized, that a deep state exists, and the deep state is proven by the Epstein files. And they were supposed to what? Share the Epstein files. And if you saw Dan Bongino, and we talked about this a month, I think it's been a month now. He was like a deer in headlights on Fox.
Remember, I broke the story about him. Actually, this is what they were supposed to talk at the White House meeting that they JD Vance's dinner. This was getting Bungie that the media still till this day doesn't talk about. They were talking about the the main thing was this, and this is why we had the Putin all of a sudden Alaska trip. I mean, this is where it all
They're
stems from,
trying,
guys.
what Lev was saying is they were, if you see about a month ago, things went nutty. Bongino like went quiet. Reports leaked that infighting between Bongino and Pam Bondi, one of them had to go. And then Lev and I also talked about when it broke, the Missouri AG was now sent in, if you noticed, as a deputy. They're like, why is the Missouri AG? Isn't that Dan Bongino's job? Dan Bongino, as Lev and others have said, hasn't shown up to work. And and what Lev broke was that they're trying to win over Bongino, or they're trying to confirm that he doesn't flip on them. And then what Lev also said, his source was saying, is that Elon Musk had reached out to Dan Bongino. And Elon Musk, folks, just to, the reason I'm just saying this, if you already know this, just pardon my 2-minute Cliff Notes summary. A lot of people don't know this, but I'm just trying to connect the dots so all of us, 1,000 people watching, are on the same page now. Elon Musk, when he had that fight with Donald Trump, his parting shot, you all remember? Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. And Lev and I were saying, oh, that's for MAGA. Folks, MAGA is the one behind this. When Donald Trump said what he said in his post earlier today, it's all projection. It wasn't the left. I'll give him one credit, which I hate doing. The corporate media and the Democrats did drop the ball on this. I'll give it honest. MAGA didn't. It's MAGA who's been on it. Lev, talk to us about why Project Veritas, being the person exposing this, is, well, first of all, explain how terrible Project Veritas is, but also explain to them why that being the source is huge.
That's I think the biggest story I hear that you said, Watch, that it's not the mainstream media that is breaking these stories. It's not the Democrats that are doing the Oppo research and coming out. That it's actually mega, because let me tell you who James O'Keefe, and I know him very well because I used to work with Project Veritas. So when I say work with them, I didn't work for them with them. They were part of that whole mega machine that worked for us. And remember when we had our BLT team, they would come there. He would be part of the machine that would come and give us information to me, to Rudy, to Victoria, to John Solomon, that would be later pushed on to Donald Trump and the White House. That was in his first administration. And we're talking about the stuff he was doing was the same exact stuff, but he was doing to the Democrats at the time. He's the guy in Project Veritas was involved in that whole Pizzagate stuff that Waj talked about, where we had a young pizza man that got killed because of his reporting and some of the conspiracy theories that they've put on there. So that's why it's so crazy and to see that it's his reporting, and that's why I beg all of you to go out there and make sure you read the Substack and watch that video. I put it out yesterday, and it's an 8-minute video, but the way he breaks it down, I don't think me or Wash could have broke it down any better. The way he was literally trying to break down Trump, and this is a hardcore Trump supporter. This is hardcore mega, folks. So when we're talking about mega is not letting it go, that is why we keep sounding the alarm and saying, where are the Democrats? Because right now, they should be all over the TV right now with this video. I mean, right now, the pressure would be more than ever. But instead of them doing the pressure, Trump himself is going off the rails. They're not
That's
even, they don't
projection.
even.
It's always projection, Lev. You know this. You know Trump better
They,
than anyone. Uh, Explain to us his mindset. If I'm Donald Trump, in order to distract from the terrible economic numbers that came out today, folks, which it was projected yesterday and got confirmed today. I mean, just horrific. It looks like we're about to go into a recession. Unemployment's up. Job numbers were super low. I mean, it's bad. So in order to distract, oh, I don't know. You know what I would do? I would talk about crime. I would like do my usual. Black people, racists, crime, Chicago.
oh, yeah.
The fact that he doubled down and did this huge post, which I read, and this post it came out at 8:56 a.m. Huge post where he literally just gives the ammunition to Democrats and the corporate media to talk about the Epstein. Explain to me his psyche right now, because that's literally the worst thing you could do. It's all projection.
Oh, well, not only projection, but you see, Donald Trump, a lot of people, you have to understand, you might already start learning him over the years, is he deals from emotion. There's different type of people. He doesn't sit there, evaluate, wait, think, and then, act. If he sees, he could be watching TV and there's something that could go over the Chiron, and right there, he'll tweet about it without even confirming if it's true or not. That's why a lot of times you'll see all this batshit crazy. So right now, what's happening is there's a combination of lots of things happening. His whole world right now, from what I'm hearing from people that are really close, is not only is his health deteriorating, folks. Trust me when I tell you, but also the things that are happening overseas between Putin, Xi, Modi that he can't control, the tariffs, the numbers coming out. He knew these numbers yesterday.
Yep.
He knew it because he gets them before. He knew this, and he was asked that question. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's somebody gets fired and say the numbers are wrong. Because if you listen to his response, because part of him is trying to rewrite history. No, the numbers are great. It's not his fault. It's because of too late Powell. It's because of Biden. It's still Biden's fault. He's still running our economy, and Powell is too late, and that's why we're having this. Not because of the tariffs or because of what he's doing. So he is right now a man, and that's the scary part. Watch it. I'm going to be really honest with everybody right now. I am really worried what Donald Trump could do, because right now Donald Trump is that rat in the corner.
Yeah,
If
we talked
anybody
about that.
understands, well, now he really is that rat in the corner because he's isolated. Because right now he's been played on the world stage. The EU leaders have walked away from him and are dealing with Ukraine, and are moving forward and have partnered up and are like he doesn't exist. His dictator, authoritarian, bro mans that he thought he had basically last week showed him up and told him to go screw himself. That laughing at him and not with him, but laughing at him. He's at home over here. All the courts are turning over every single decision from Los Angeles with the guard to deportations to Kilmore Garcia still in the country. I mean, everything. He's I'm fighting on every single plan, and now this Epstein thing that won't go away. And the reason why it won't go away is because of his reactions to it. This is not because trust me when I tell you, and this is why people sit there and say to themselves, like, I can't believe how they're handling this. Well, let me tell you, the reason why they're handling it is because Donald Trump is handling it. This is not because trust me, they could have a major crisis team put together, and there would be a proper response. Any major corporation would do it, let alone the president of the United States, and there would be a proper way of handling it, legal, proper, whatever you want to call it. They're not doing it. They're handling it because Donald Trump responds and everything follows. Donald Trump responds. That's why I say to each and every one of you, and that's why I keep pounding the alarm button, is Donald Trump watches these things. I
Yep.
guarantee you Donald Trump is going to probably watch this show. Oh, I love it. Donald Trump is going to watch this show because he watches social media. They bring him the clips of all of the people that he hates, and I'm one of them. So trust me when I tell you, is he's probably going to watch us and see what we're talking about, what's breaking stuff. And that's why I tell everybody, we need to put the pressure on the right points. It's like, the media's punching him here, and he could take the punch here, but you're leaving him open
Epstein.
here.
We kept saying Epstein.
Exactly.
Epstein is his Achilles cankle, folks. Look, everything's what I've told people. He's distracting. Sure, it's not it's a yes and. The distraction is part and parcel of the overall plan. What is the overall plan? To stay in power through any illegal means necessary. So it is a distraction, but the distraction is part of the plan, right? As Steve Bannon said, you flood the zone, but they're flooding the zone with the type of racism, cultural grievance, lies, conspiracy theories, and also the batshit executive plan, which is to do what? Dismantle the government, give the money to the richest bros like the Musks and the Teals, and also do what? As we said we said this, we talked about this. We said it's the world's worst. I told you so, Lev. I get no joy from this. We said, watch, Donald Trump is going to talk about electoral reform. What happened? Electoral reform. We said the electoral reform will be what? He'll go after gerrymandering, suppressing the vote. He was going after mail-in voting, suppressing the vote. We said, he's going to try to release the names of Democrats, scrub the names of Republicans. Voila, you had the Justice Department official on a hinge date admit it. We talked about Bongino. We talked about the wedge. We said the reason why we should concentrate on Epstein is two reasons. Number one, I think it's important, and especially what we saw on September 3rd is very important. All these girls who were raped, I really hope people could go back and watch some of these women. Now they're women. Just listen to them. These girls were raped for decades, and they still haven't had any justice and accountability, right? So first and foremost, justice, accountability, and second of all, Epstein is the wedge issue. Epstein is the one weakness that even MAGA, he's losing MAGA over this, folks, right? And speaking about losing MAGA over it, before we talk about a lot of stuff that you said, and thank you for breaking down his psychology. I think based on what you just said, it makes sense. This was he did this batshit post on Truth Social at 8:56 a.m. My take on it, based on what you just said, is he probably woke up. He was having his Diet Coke, and someone said, "Sir, did you see what one of our own guys, Joseph Schnitt said? Who's Joseph Schnitt? What is that? Did you see what he said? Look at this. Look at what happened on Project Veritas. You probably saw the 8-minute video. Drank more Diet Cokes, got upset, took out his he's a creature of impulse, which is why people say that he repeats whatever the last thing that is said to him. It's like a brain worm. And Putin, who's a master manipulator at KGB, knew that. He had a meeting with him. He put in that brain worm about 2020 elections and mail-in voting. And look, he's been obsessed with it since, right? So I think that's what happened, Lev. Someone told him about it. He saw the video, couldn't help himself, posted this very damning projection on Truth Social, right? But Project Veritas, which is terrible, James O'Keefe, who's terrible, explain to us why it's MAGA doing it. Because James O'Keefe isn't stupid. He must know that this is not going to help Donald Trump. And also, I want to remind people, I'm not surprised. I haven't answered this, but I want to hear from Lev. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert joined Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna when it came to standing with the women. And Marjorie Taylor Greene disagreed publicly with Donald Trump when he called it a hoax. I think these players, O'Keefe, Boebert, MTG, it's very important. But I give it to you, Lev. Break it down.
Oh, absolutely. And not only that, but you got to also add Nancy Mace to the picture. She
And Nancy
signed
Mace.
up on it. And also, she hasn't signed, but Paula Luna came out and has made several. She's playing it a little bit trickier because even in her post she put out, she's trying to defend Trump a little bit in a way, but she's also coming out and saying certain things that she heard behind the closed doors, which basically validates a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about, even with Zed, about the CIA, the Mossad, about Epstein's connections over there. So Anna Paulun is staying away from the attack on the victims, but she is concentrating because they all see. This is the one thing about his base, as you call it, his group, his loyalists. They don't have loyalty to each other, let alone
Mm,
to themselves. They all have their own intentions. And that's why you're seeing such splits and you're seeing such, what's it called, happening to it. Because to them, they all use each other to get the power. Because it's like they're all by themselves. They can't get, like Marjorie Taylor Greene would never become a congresswoman if she didn't latch on to Donald Trump, but doesn't mean that she was a hardcore mega. She was not in her own way. She could have been has her own crazy conspiracy theories and everything on. She could have agreed some things with Trump, but she used it to get to her platform, and now she's off in her own engines. You know what I'm saying to you? And that's why I say, and that's why it's very important that Dan Bongino, I keep mentioning it, I know I'm going to keep harping on it. I truly believe that could be the straw that breaks the camel's back and breaks his back. And I think the only reason why we have is because the pressure hasn't put out. And people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, people like James O'Keefe, people like Nancy Mason, Bober. I mean, you're talking about hardcore Trump supporters. I'm not going to say loyalists because all these people, they have loyalty only to themselves, but they were
good
hardcore.
point.
But they were hardcore Trump supporters because Trump was the leader that was bringing them to where they needed to get to, for either their financial purposes, their political purposes, whatever the reason is. That's not to say the cult base. Those are hardcore, believers, but these are the people that are now turning on Trump because they're also, remember, just like I have sources on the inside, all of these people have a lot of close people on the inside of Trump world, and they're hearing the same things that I'm telling you guys, and they're hearing about his health. They're seeing his deterioration about how he's dealing with Putin and everything else. They're seeing what's happening. They're seeing how this Epstein thing is unfolding, and a lot of them are starting to jump ship like rats on a sinking ship. And that's why you're starting to see them come out and choose this because even common sense, even the most vile and criminal and stupid people have a little common sense, understand that the way he's dealing emotionally and really, I don't know any other way to say, crazy way of responding to the Epstein release of the Epstein files, you could tell the downfall's coming. And that's why you see other guys like J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel being very quiet. There's
Yep.
another very interesting thing that happened yesterday that nobody's really talking about is Trump had that tech bro meeting, which
Yeah,
is
I was gonna last night. They all worshipped him. Who is the greatest king? You're the greatest king. Who's the best?
all
You're the best.
Democrat, all Democrats, all Democrats.
Zuckerberg, Tim Apple.
Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and you know what? That was another blow to Mega. Yesterday, Laura Loomer was having a heart attack. Laura Loomer was all over Twitter saying, like, "What are we doing here? What's happening here? Who brought these people in there?" But again, I always tell people and all my subscribers and all our followers to don't take a look at who was there. Don't take a look at what they talked about. Take a look who wasn't there. You know who wasn't there? Elon Musk.
Yep.
Elon Musk wasn't there, that big tech bro, one of the biggest tech bros out there. You know what I'm saying to you? So you're watching, and so Mega, which Elon Musk was supposed to be his hardcore, got him there, is now out. And who is in? the people that were promised again, because remember when Trump ran, he promised to go after Bill Gates. He promised to put Zuckerberg in prison because he said Zuckerberg used Meta and Facebook and everything to fix the 2020 election. So this is another. I'm just giving you guys. So there, his people, all of these things that I'm telling you that I'm hearing, that was people like Marjorie Taylor Greene has they all have people on the inside. They are all on the inside. They all are seeing it. They all are watching it, and they all know that the downfall is coming soon. They're
There you
all
go.
just yeah, but the biggest surprise, what I'm hearing also, is they're all surprised that it hasn't come because nobody's taking the reins on the Democratic side. With all this, I mean, it's like literally right now, somebody should be on, like literally make their own like, where's Bloomberg? Like, get your own television station or something. I don't know. Where's
They're
Mark
all
Cuban?
cowards. They're all
Where's
cowards,
Cuban?
Lev.
Where's all these billionaires? Like right now, like there's he's giving you so much the message right now. Buy television ads. If the media doesn't report on it, do something. But go into let's do town halls. Like do a documentary. I don't know. Like, but how do you not get this?
Look, I had Congressman Raskin on yesterday. I respect him, but I was slightly disappointed. I asked him, I had him for 18 minutes. I asked him about exactly this. Where's the Dem leadership? And he gave me an answer. Look, he's a sitting official. He's not going to go after Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer. But I named him. I said, where is the leadership? Like, give me the plan. It's all right there for the taking, right? And he's like, oh, and then I said, do you have faith in this leadership? I was hoping he would say no, but of course he had to filibuster. But when I criticized the leadership, there was something interesting if people notice. When I criticized Jeffries and Schumer, and I really criticized them, he didn't correct me. He kept quiet. I feel like there's a failure of leadership. I feel like they're cowards. I feel like they're incapable or unwilling to take a stand. I feel like they still don't know MAGA. I feel like they still don't understand the current ecosystem, Lev, which is why I think it's so important. I'm so happy you're here is because, I talked to Mehdi yesterday, also Mehdi Hassan. Mehdi and I have always joked that because we know how MAGA thinks, because we spent so much time in right wing media, we can pick up on certain buzzwords when they enter the mainstream that normies don't realize they're repeating, right? And so it's like when you're a couple of steps ahead and everyone else thinks you're crazy, I'm like, no, I'm not crazy. That came from Project Veritas. This is what MTG is telling her base. This, you know this, you were in this world, right? And just watch this, like QAnon. I was on QAnon for a while. I'm like, folks, they're gonna mainstream QAnon. They're gonna mainstream QAnon. People are like, what's QAnon? I'm like, ah. So I feel like this is a gift. This is a layup. The fact that Project Veritas is releasing this video, Marjorie Taylor Greene went against her king and said she believed the women. The fact that you saw Mace, they're all terrible people, folks. Listen, they're
Yeah.
all terrible. But what's interesting is who is aligning with the Democrats on certain issues. Marjorie Taylor Greene is now more pro-Palestinian than most Democrats because she realizes Trump is betraying the America First promise. And speaking about betraying the America First promise, who just changed the Department of Defense to the Department of War? Trump administration, who just illegally, folks, blew up a Venezuelan boat without any evidence and said it was a drug
Great.
cartel. We still don't know if it was a drug cartel. We don't know who he killed. And even if it was drugs, who gives the president the right to just blow up someone, right? So, and then Marco Rubio says, this is what we're going to do. So they're setting up openly to your face a not America first promise, but an America expansionist promise, right? Blowing up anyone they want. Venezuela now, in a show of retaliation, is circling its airplanes, right? So my fear is, Lev, a point that you said is in order to distract. I fear that two things. He will expand the war efforts outside, perhaps take on drug cartels, which he has designated as terrorist groups, which now he believes he can unilaterally kill. Folks, this is happening. That's big news. So it's the expansion of war outside, which is a betrayal of America First. Also, the expansion of war inside against Americans whom Stephen Miller calls invaders and insurrectionists. And so the scary stuff that you and I have talked about is as he gets desperate, and we've used the analogy of the rat, he's a rat, he's backed into a corner, he's a desperate rat. He will cut through everything and anyone, he'll cut through all the wires, even if the wires catch fire and burn down the neighborhood. Trump, to stay alive, will do it. My fear is he will ramp up Project 2025, as we've been saying, it was supposed to be a 4-year plan. Have you noticed, folks? It's been ramped up on steroids. The reason is because I believe the people around him know the king is dying. Extract from the king whatever they can before he falls over on his cankles. Get as much power as possible for JD Vance. So because JD Vance is a doughboy, no one respects him. But it doesn't matter if you have all the power left. Who cares? And then I think Marjorie Taylor Greene, Veritas, Lauren Boebert, Bongino, folks. The reason why it's these people is they're the most radical members of the base, and they know where the base is going. They're like a step ahead of the Republican Party, and they know that their base is going to turn on Epstein and America first. So that's why Bongino realizes, oh, I can't lose my credibility with the base. And they realize, okay, if Donald Trump is weak and dying, at least I'll get to hold on to my base on these two issues, which goes back to the point you're making, Lev. Attack on Epstein.
Absolutely, and the one thing that I mean, everything you said is to the point. But the one thing that I want to touch on is that you said is this attack on that boat, that Venezuelan boat. This, folks. Let me just put it to you this way: this is Project 2025. This is part of it because Donald Trump has already, in my opinion, in his mind, has conceded the 2026 midterms.
Yeah.
I think Donald Trump has already watching his actions and and now it's a point where it's not like let's go out there and put a campaign together and support and try to win these seats. I think we are reaching and have reached a point because when you kill 11 people that in the middle of the ocean, that I mean I still there was zero explanation. Again, they could be
It's
the
huge news. It's
I mean
huge.
I mean
Oh, by
just
the
think
way,
of
I
it.
invited Dean. Someone said that Dean's here. Dean Blundell, if you
Oh,
want to
yeah.
come in, Dean, I gave you an invite. Join us the last 6 minutes, but continue live. I didn't mean to interrupt you, sir.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. So, this is already a preparation so you have the National Guard, you have him making comments. Remember when he was sitting in the Oval with Zelensky,
Yep.
somebody asked about Zelensky about, oh, no elections during a war. He's like, oh, so if there's a war, there's no election. What war can he do? He's not going to go to war with Russia. He's not going to go to war with, China. Who is he going to go? Who is the most easiest because hey there, big guy. Hey, Dean.
Fellas, I'm just enjoying the show. Keep going, and I'll just budge in anytime I want.
You got it, brother. So let me just finish this thought. So who he is pushing? Who does a bully pick on? So if a bully comes up in a school fight and there's 10 guys standing there, a bully's gonna pick the smallest, the weakest guy to pick on. He's not gonna come up to the biggest guy. So that's why Trump right now is bowing down to Russia, bowing down to China, bowing down to all of those big dictator, where he's and picking on Venezuela. He
Yep.
decided he's going to pick on Venezuela. Why? Because as we've been reporting and what some of my sources tell me, and remember, for those of you that don't know, I was the guy in his first administration that was on the phone with President Nicolas Maduro, with Congressman Pete Sessions and Rudy Giuliani, working out a soft landing on behalf of Donald Trump for Maduro and his, like he said, to live in Texas and watch the Cowboys play. So I know these players very well, from Nicolas Maduro himself to Donald Trump, and I also know Guaido because I was also in Spain with Rudy when Rudy went behind the scenes to start supporting Guaido with the opposition back then. I mean, so know that region very well, and the reason why Trump is pushing on it right now is because he feels. And with the setup that they did here with the gangs, the Cheswangwa, whatever the
Agua, yeah.
event Tirangua, that he's already set up the presence of that that we are going to war with Venezuela. And now by sending the troops, all he needs is like a little conflict, nothing major. Hit a bomb somewhere, do something, make it official, and then martial law sits in. And
Yep.
then all of a sudden he freezes the midterm elections
Yep.
because we are at war. And then I mean, I have a loss for words, which I usually don't, but it's that
But no,
scary.
Dean, I'll bring you in and I'll give you the final word on this. Only because, well, I got 5 minutes left. I have to go do democracy at 11:55. Join it with me and Danielle. will be live. But it's what Lev and I have been saying, Dean, is that he has no intention or plans of leaving peacefully or legally. And I always tell people I'm not a conspiracy theorist. When I'm speculating, I speculate, but I also tell people to trust the evidence of their eyes and their ears.
Mm.
And what more do people want to see? Your take on what you've heard so far?
Listen, I think you guys touched on some really nuanced but overly important topics, whether or not it was the perception of starting a war with Venezuela. That perception is not just a perception, right? Blowing a gunboat out of the water with 11 people in it, and the Venezuelan government had no idea. I mean, that's a declaration of something else. Because they need that Gulf of Tonkin reason, right? That's what Donald Trump is looking for, to either cancel the election, start a skirmish, or go exert himself to distract everybody from his terrible fucking approval rating, from the Epstein files, which is nuclear. The women have taken that entire narrative and turned it into a weapon, which is beautiful. None of those things are going anywhere. But to your point, that perception of what's going on in Venezuela, there's 4 massive U.S. warships parked off the coast of Venezuela right now with about 4,100 servicemen and women conducting training exercises. This is not something that is a rumor. You know, this is something, to your point and to Lev's point, this is something that is part of a larger strategy. Venezuela has, I mean, dude, Venezuela, who gives a shit about Venezuela? Nobody really cares in the United States about Venezuela, but they have been that whipping post. And sure, Maduro is a dictator. And yes, he is an illegitimate president, but they're not a threat to the United States of America. And they're being treated as such, as is Mexico. You've got an exclusionary line across the bottom of the United States that has been turned into effectively a zoned military base for staging something else. And everything points back to what you guys were talking about, which is, why on earth would he start a fight? Why would he send men and women in uniform to go and invade Mexico or start a war with Venezuela? And there's only one reason, and you said it earlier. He has conceded that he is going to lose in 2026. He knows he is going to get wiped out in the midterms. So he is giving himself as many opportunities and allies and allies as he can to be able to either cancel the election, call martial law, or simply just decide that he's not going anywhere in 2026, or he's not going anywhere in 2028. There's a reason those
Not,
fucking
not
MAGA hats, there's a reason those MAGA 2028 hats are selling like hotcakes. Everything he's doing from Project 2025 to the performative shit that you're seeing right now is to distract everybody, but it all leads down one road, and that road is for him to not leave the Oval Office.
And just
Dean, I
quickly,
appreciate. Oh, go ahead, Lev. Go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
just one little thing because it's very important. Just you used a very important word. You said that right now we have over 4,000. What we're doing is training exercises, right? There's another dictator that used those same exact words back in 2022 while he was getting ready to invade. That was Vladimir Putin. While he was they were doing training exercises. Remember, on the Ukrainian border
Yeah.
before they invaded. So I just wanted to say how even the terminology and that you see, he always, he's a student of authoritarianism, like I said. He's
Mhm.
a student of he watch and wants to bring it here. Go ahead. I'm
And
sorry.
can I give? I want to add 2 more points to what Dean said, in case people think, "Oh, we all have tinfoil hats." Lev and I have mentioned this one piece of news that was reported only by CNN, where it was in Russia, and the Russian shows talked about how Putin and Trump have decided to carve up the spheres, where Russia would get Ukraine and Poland, and Donald Trump and America would get Canada and Greenland. And CNN was the only one to report that and translate it. Now, speaking about Greenland, I want to remind everyone about his aggressive overtures about Greenland. People first I thought was a joke, and then afterwards, like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't think you're kidding. And then furthermore, Donald Trump in this administration said that he is not opposed to using the military. Remember this, folks? To take over Greenland. Also, his hostile overtures to Canada about the 51st state. Folks, he wasn't joking, and you better believe Canada was not taking it as a joke. And in fact, because he was so terrible, the Liberals who were dead in the water in Canada, negative 20 points, it literally catapulted Carney to victory. And then Mexico also was like, whoa, 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 slow your roll. I thought we were allies. Panama, folks, remember these are, I'm just telling you to trust the evidence of your eyes and your ears. And then yesterday, speaking about what, Dean was saying, again, the reason why such big news, it's illegal. We don't know the facts. They're claiming it's a drug cartel. We don't know the name of the victims. Other people are saying, you know what? Even if it was drug cartel, it seems like low-level drug carriers. When does the president of the United States have the authority to unilaterally, extrajudicially blow up a low-level drug cartel boat in international waters? And some people are saying it wasn't even a drug cartel; it was actually migrants. Venezuela has responded. Venezuela, listen, folks, U.S. versus Venezuela, we all know what's going to happen, right? But still, Venezuela now has responded by like circling its jets around these ships that Dean was talking about. And yesterday, they decided to announce that the Department of Defense will be called the Department of War.
Whoa.
So the whole America first. This is why I'm telling you, folks. Epstein, America first. These are fissures. And the last thing I'll say is it's all part of the grift. That's the one thing we forgot to mention. 2 days ago, it was reported that the Trump family has made, as we say, mashallah, somehow $5 billion. Four, five, no, five, right? Okay, I thought Dean was going to say five
Oh, you
billion
nailed it.
dollars
Yep. Yep.
through crypto, because this is the first administration that has passed a pro-crypto legislation, the Genius Act. They have deregulated crypto, and now suddenly this family, while in the White House, has profited. Any other person would have done it. Biggest scandal. Jimmy Carter had to sell his peanut farm. But this mother effer and his Tweedledee, Tweedledum kids and family have made $5 billion. And bringing back full circle to what Lev said, I believe Dean and Lev, Daddy has served his time, his purpose, his usefulness. He passed the Genius Act, the big, beautiful bill. He's trying to consolidate power and rig the system through gerrymandering and going after mail-in voting. He's normalized the nationalization of the military guard against the people. They got to do a few more things, Dean and Lev, and then he can die. And then even if JD is unpopular, what does it matter, guys? If Republicans have all the power, that's my take. I give the final word to Dean. Then I'll give the final word to Lev.
Believe everything these two gentlemen have talked about in this Substack Live today. There are wonderful people out here that take it upon themselves to fill those gaps where mainstream media has abdicated full responsibility because they're scared of the orange clown in the Oval Office. So please subscribe to Waj. Please subscribe to my friend Lev and everybody here. When I was watching, while I was listening to you intently working, people welcoming me into the Waj and Lev show. What a warm welcome. You guys are absolutely beautiful people, but keep the faith and never stop listening to these two gentlemen. It's a real pleasure to be on with you guys today. Thanks for the invite.
That's Dean Blundell. Dean Blundell has his own Substack. Everyone subscribe. He gives you the American and Canadian perspective. Lev.
Yeah, Dean has some incredible Canadian sources, and you definitely want to subscribe. Look, Waj, Dean, that's what independent journalism is. Because the one take you're going to get from what you heard today is that you're hearing things here that you're not hearing on CNN, you're not hearing it on MSNBC, you're not hearing it on Fox, you're not hearing it anywhere. Because we're giving you the inside story, we're giving you the facts, we're giving you the real news, the real story behind what's happening. And that's why it's more important than now we need your support, because right now we're at a fight for our democracy. And if without you, we can't do it. We could spend all day here, 24 hours a day, bringing this information, risking our lives, risking our freedom, because that's actually what's happening in the world we're living today. Because Donald Trump's not playing games. You see what he's doing to the John Boltons of the world. Well, I'm on his target list. I was one of those guys that not only worked for Donald Trump in Ukraine, spoke to Maduro on the phone for him, but spent 4 years very close in his administration. And I'm out here every day with thanks to people like Wash, thanks to people like Dean, thanks to people like my son Aaron and the Midas Touch that are reporting the stuff that I'm breaking, that I'm risking the stuff to do. But we can't do it without your support. So please go out there, subscribe to all the independent journalists, and if you can, your paid subscription goes a long way. It might not seem like a lot, but it goes a long way, folks, because we're out here. This is a full-time gig. It's a full-time job to try to save our democracy. So anything you can do will help. Thank you, guys.
Oh, Lev's gone much better at that pitch. Well done, Lev. I've seen it. You've amped up your game, man, in the past month. I'm usually the one who does it, but you did it, folks. Thank you all for watching. There's about 1,600 people. I've been talking to Lev for about 50 minutes. It'll be up on all of our Substacks later today with transcripts. This is the Lev Took. I have no paywalls. I'm a terrible capitalist. If you have some money, give it to Lev and Dean, and then if you have a few dollars left over, give it to me. If not, that's fine. But at the very least, share this information, folks. And listen, just keep your eye on the ball. Uh, the corporate media is not going to save us. Our elected officials aren't going to save us. The wealthy and the powerful aren't going to save us. They were last night, they were filleting Donald Trump as the terrible job numbers came out today, right? The people, it's going to be the people, folks. This is going to be 10 toes down, contact sport, long walk, or it's a long walk to take out fascism. But our job is to chip away, chip away, chip away. And the best way to do it is first and foremost for the majority to be informed. So we try our best to inform you. And there is a major weakness, folks. Donald Trump is going down. It's just a matter of when. The two Achilles cankles, Epstein and the economy, both today, folks. We've been saying it. The two Achilles cankles today proves it. But then the fear is, what will this desperate rat do to survive? And we're telling you, he ain't gonna leave peacefully. He ain't gonna leave legally. He ain't leaving. There is one way he's gonna leave, but it ain't legally. Folks, thank you for watching. And in 2-3 minutes, I'll be back with Danielle Moody. Take care of yourself. Be kind, and please, oh please, don't be a fascist. Bye, Dean and Lev. Thanks so
Bye,
much,
guys.
guys.
Thanks.
Take care, guys. Take care.